Okay, so two quilts, boom, 5 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 in each row. 1, 2, 3. And the question is, how many squares are in both quilts? So this is actually a really good one to use with associative property, which I've already forgotten, even though we just went over it. Associative property says that you can change the grouping of the factors, and the product's still going to be the same. So first things first, each quilt, if I just look at one quilt, okay, 5 rows, 3 in each, what's the math problem for that? What would be my multiplication problem? There, 5 times 3. Rows go first, so 5 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, and each side colors. 3 in each, so there we go, 5 times 3. But how many quilts are there? Okay, so this is where your associative property comes in. I can either do my 5 times 3 first, because that's going to tell me how many squares. What's it? Yeah, squares. How many squares are in a quilt? But then I'm going to double it. I'm going to go ahead and multiply it by 2. So I can do 5 times 3 first, or I'm actually just going to write it down here because I'm running out of room. Or say if I wanted to do 3 times 2. It doesn't actually matter which way I do the groups. You're still going to get the same answer. So, because if there's like 3 squares in each row, but I'm going to have to do that anyways for the 2 quilts. Okay. 5 times 3 gives me what? 15. So by the time I bring everything else down, so that's 15 times 2. Okay, I don't know that off the top of my head, but I do know when I multiply by 2, you're just doubling it. You're basically adding it, 15 plus 15. So 5 plus 5 gives me, put the 0, carry your 1. 1, 2, 3. So 15 times 2 is going to give me 30. If I come over here, though, 3 times 2 is going to give me, bring everything else down. Now I got 5 times 6. That's close enough. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Do I still get 30? And I'll pause it here in just a second, and I promise I'll give you guys a moment to get everything written. What if I did, bless you, I could have even said, we could have even written 2 quilts times like the 5 times 3. And I could have even grouped it so it's 2 times 5. So that was one of them that we could do first. So 2 times 5 would give me 10. Bring everything else down. 10 times 3 is going to give me 30. Either way you do it on this, I'm still going to get 30. So that's what it means with associative property. You can group them in different ways. Like maybe I wanted to find out how many squares are in one quilt, and then I just doubled it, multiplied by 2. Maybe I wanted to multiply my 2 quilts, 5 rows each. So I wanted to find out the total number of rows, which would be 10 rows, 3 in each row. So associative property is the grouping. You want to remember that word, grouping. So, moving on. Is it, okay, yeah, good. So here we go. They actually wrote it. Here's your 2 different ways. And it's all in how you do the parentheses. So this is pretty much what we did right on top. And all I'm doing, I'm just putting the parentheses around 2 different groups. So 2 times 5, you can do that one first. Or you could do 3 times 2. So, next page. Looks like, I guess, doing a quilt. Still doing some quilts here. Hey, Drew is joining 3 sections. Okay, makes sense. Green, yellow, green. Each section has 2 rows. So 1, 2, with 4 squares in each row. How many squares are in these 3 sections? So, again, we can do it a couple of different ways. Okay, so they went ahead and, excuse me, 3 times 2 times 4. So you could think of it as finding out, maybe I want to do how many rows I have all together. Or we could say, okay, I want to find out what is in, in a section at a time, and then multiply that by, excuse me, by the 3 groups. I'm actually just rewriting this and then showing you where the parentheses can go, like the difference in the parentheses. So I could do 3 times 2 first. That's my 3 groups, 3 sections, 2 rows in each. So 3 times 2 is going to give me my 6 rows total. Okay, well there's 4 in each row. So that's then, okay, 6 times 4. Or maybe I wanted to multiply and say, okay, 2 rows, 4 in each row. So 2 times 4 would be giving me 1 quilt at a time. And then since I have 3 quilts, I would multiply that by 3. So it really just, it's up to you which way you want to multiply it. And that's where your associative property comes in. We could even do, okay, I got 3 quilts with 4 columns. I can multiply that first, and then I'm going to multiply it by the 2 rows for each quilt. Either way we do that, you're still going to get the same thing. 3 times 2 equals 6. 6 times 4 equals 24. 2 times 4 equals 8. 3 times 8 equals 24. 3 times 4 equals 12. 12 times 2 equals 24. Associative property is nice because if you flip it around, you can actually rearrange it so you have your easy math facts going on. Like if you don't know 12 times 2, you know what? I would do one of these other ways. Maybe you know 3 times 8. You're really good with your multiples of 8. Okay, then use it. Do it that way. That's where the nice thing of associative property actually comes in, is because you can multiply for whichever way is going to help you with knowing your basic math facts. And please make sure you have these examples. All right, good to go. Next page. All right, so let's take a look. Manual. Nope. Wait a minute, I'm missing a word. No, that's it. Bless you. Yeah. Manual has 4 pages of stickers in an album. Each page has 3 rows with 2 stickers. 2 stickers in each row, excuse me. How many stickers are in Manuel's album? So is it asking you how many pages? All right, you got to look at the question. Does it want to know how many pages? How many what? Stickers. How many stickers are in Manuel's album? And there's my question mark. So I can't just say 3 rows, 2 stickers in each row, 3 times 2 is 6, because that's just going to be for 1 page. I'm absolutely going to have to figure it out with the 4 pages. So it says you can use objects to help. You know what? You're not going to get objects on the state test. So that's why I'm all about draw it out now. Because I can't give you the manipulatives and stuff, the objects for you to use on the test. You got to do everything right then and there. Tatum, sweetie, you're just goofing around with that water bottle now. So, you know what? Draw 4 pages. So 4 pages, boom, here we go. 4 pages. Each page has 3 rows. So 1, 2, 3 rows. 1, 2, 3 rows. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 2 stickers in each row. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 2 stickers on each row. I'm absolutely starting out with like the biggest thing, which in this case would have been the pages. Pages are larger than, everything else. So I literally started with the largest group or the largest item. And I'm just drawing it out. Now can I go through and actually skip count all of these? Skip count by 2? Yeah. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. So physically having it in front of me, you know what? There is nothing wrong with that. How many stickers is he going to have? 24 stickers. Okay. If you're good with your multiplication, this is where the associative property comes in. You could have figured out, like, say at the 3 rows, 2 stickers in each row, you could have figured out what was on each page. Sorry, you can't see that. So 2 times 3. 2 stickers in each row, and you got 3 rows. Technically, I should have done 3 times 2. But I could figure out what's on a page and then multiply by my 4 pages. You know what? You're still going to get 24. Because 2 times 3 equals 6. 6 times 4 equals 24. Associative property is just a fancy way of saying, hey, you can actually do it in a couple of different orders, a couple of different groups, and you're still going to get the same product. So, number 2, Billy concludes the product of 2 times 3 multiplied by 5 is not equal to the product of 2 multiplied by 3 times 5. Is he correct? So, here's your associative property. You know what? Fill it out. So, 2 times 3, I just got to rewrite it so I can actually have space. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see that. So 2 times 3 gives me what, guys? 6. So if I bring down everything else, so 6 times 5. 6 times 5 is going to give me, okay, so that one equals 30. What if I do the other way? So 3 times 5, parentheses tell me what I'm doing first, 15. And we actually already did it on the previous page. 2 times 15 is going to give me, so are these the same? So Billy said that they are not equal. So the first one is not equal to this one. Is he correct? Because there's my actual question. That's what I'm answering. Is he correct? He says that it's not equal. So he is not correct. He is wrong. They are equal. They are the same. Again, associative property. All right, so looking at the whole, do you know how? So here it says use the associative property of multiplication to find the missing number. You may use objects or draw a picture. Did it actually say find the product? So you know what? Y'all aren't even having to multiply on this. You're just rewriting basically the associative property. No, dude, we're not messing with that right now. So this, it just says find the missing number. We're not even having to solve. So if my numbers that I'm using are going to be 2, 4, 2, then that means, okay, here's 2 and 4, 2 and 4. The last one I'm missing is 2. Instead of multiplying 4 times 2, they flipped it, and we're doing the first group, the first section together, 2 times 4. Again, my numbers are 3, 4, 3. So I'm missing, okay, we got a 3 and a 3, which means I'm missing my 4. I'll admit, I kind of don't like that because I feel like it should have been written another way. It could have been like 3 times 3, and then you multiply that by 4. That's another way you could have done associative property. Again, if I write it, you write it, guys. So here we have, let's see, my numbers are 2, 2, and 3. So here they did 2 times 3 first, and now we're flipping it. It's going to be 2 times 2. Well, if I do 2 times 2, I'm missing my 3, which means 3 is going to go in that blank. Okay. On number 6, my numbers are 3, 2, and 4. Well, I got 2 and 4, so I'm missing my 3. Okay. So definitely you want to look at your directions with these, which I'm assuming when you get the homework packet next week and it has the pages that go along with this, you're probably going to want to look at what it's saying because you don't even have to solve these yet. It just wanted you to fill in the numbers. That's it. Same thing, 7 through 12. Use the associative property to find the missing number. You can use objects or draw a picture to help. All you're doing is finding the missing number. That's it. You don't even have to solve yet, do you? So we'll just do like 7 through 11. 7, 9, 11. I'm just going to do these three, and then we'll move down to the other ones. So my numbers, I'm dealing with 8, 3, and 6. So 3 times 6 first, and then I'm going to multiply that by 8. Well, here they flip the group around. They're changing the group. So now I'm going to have 8 times 3, and then the number that I'm missing, the number that's left out, is 6. So that's what I'm going to write. My numbers are 5, 7, and 2. So instead of multiplying 7 times 2, that's what we did the first way. Now I'm going to group it differently. 5 times 7. So by the time I do that, 5, 5, 7, 7, I'm missing my 2. Oh, so you got to look at what you have there. So 5 and 5, 7 and 7, boom, 2 and 2. And here we have 3 multiplied by 2 times 5. So, but if I flip it and if I do 3 times 2, then yeah, I'm missing my 5. I want you guys to try 8, 10, and 12. I'm going to come around and actually look at those. All right, so you guys are looking awesome. Wonderful. I will admit, associative property, this is one you actually probably use the most on math, because there's always a couple of different ways that you can solve, well, some multiplication, some math problems. But do I ever stop and think, oh, this is associative property, da-da-da-da-da? No, I never actually stop and think of it as the title there, Lucas. But multiplying in different orders, being able to group it a different way, yes. You are actually probably going to use this method more than a lot of other stuff in math class. It's just one of those, you use it in everyday life, but you don't sit there and call it associative property. Okay, so here it does say to find the product, meaning you are going to answer. So you can do it whichever way you want. You can do, say, 2 times 3, or actually in this case it's either 2 times 3 or 3 times 2. Guess what? You're still going to get the same thing. So if I want to go and do parentheses, say, just around the first one. 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is going to give me 6. And I'm going to write everything else. 6 times 2 is going to give me 12. There you go. Even if I did the back, 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. Same thing. It doesn't matter which way. However, I will say, just knowing my basic math facts, 5 times 2 is 10, and multiplying by 10 is pretty easy. I can do that. So if I bring everything else down, 10 times 4 is going to give me 40. If you didn't want to multiply it like that at first, you could have done, I'm just rewriting it, you could have done 2 times 4. 2 times 4 gives me, and then by the time I multiply the other things, 5 times 8, skip count by 5, I'm still going to get 40. So that's where the associative property is. You can actually group them to make it easier for you. Because again, multiplying by 10 is pretty easy. So when I see that 5 and 2 together, yeah, I'm going to multiply 5 times 2. I can multiply by 10. That's easy enough. I can do that. So that is the nice thing about associative property. You can work it to make it easier for you, for whichever math facts you like doing better. The way some of you guys were showing your work with it, I really like that. Because, I mean, even for me, if I don't put parentheses, like a lot of times I don't keep up with, okay, wait a minute, what did I already multiply? What am I doing, Deborah, Lucas? What is it if I don't mark it? So you can always put your parentheses. If you want to draw a line under it, absolutely more than welcome to. So 3 times 6 gives me 18, and then 18 times 2, well, I don't know that off the top of my head, but I do know, okay, hey, it just means I'm doubling it. 8 plus 8 gives me 16, put your 6, carry your 1, 1, 2, 3, boom, it's going to give me 36. Okay, 5 times 2 gives me 10, bring everything else down. 10 times 2 is going to give me 20. So here, okay, it's like, ooh, you don't really have an option. It's either 2 times 6 or 6 times 2. So 2 times 6 gives me 12. And by now, I feel like we've had so many 12s, or we've done 12 times 2 so many times, you'll probably know that off the top of your head. going to give me 24. So same thing, we can either do 3 times 3, or you could do it as 3 times 2. It's really up to you which way you wanted to do it. So 3 times 2 gives me 6. And then maybe I know 3 times 6 already off the top of my head, so I want to do it that way. It's really up to you with a not distributive property, I said that wrong. With associative property, you choose what group you want to multiply first, Noah. So that is the beautiful thing about associative property. I know it's confusing, but like, what's the definition? But it's nice in the fact that it doesn't matter what order you actually multiply, like what group you multiply first, you're still going to get the same thing. That's where it's nice coming in with the associative property. Okay, I do want us to listen to some Harry Potter, so we're actually going to stop right here for the day. This is going to go in your classwork folder.